Namaskar. Hello and welcome to P Guru's channel. I'm your host Sree. Iyer. Joining me today is General Ravi Shankar as we talk about the good, bad, and ugly of India or for India in 2024 and what lies ahead. Let's welcome General Ravi Shankar. Ravi Shankar sir, Namaskar and welcome to P Guru's channel. How are you?
Namaskar and thanks a lot. Uh, Happy to be here with you discussing something very nice. What we did good, bad, and the ugly in 2024. But before
Thank you
that,
so much, sir.
I'd like to
Yeah,
please go ahead.
yeah. So, viewers, Dr. Manmohan Singh. He was in retirement in Switzerland. He was brought back to India, and I think he was started as deputy chairman of Planning Commission, and then from there on to finance minister, and so on and so forth. And sometimes, if you want to understand how good a person is, you should let somebody who is totally unconnected with the system but has interacted with him at a personal level to tell or get us feedback about how Dr. Manmohan Singh was or who Dr. Manmohan Singh really was. And General Ravi Shankar has one such comment here, remark, and this is the current Prime Minister of Malaysia, Anwar Ibrahim. Sir, over to you.
Oh, thanks a lot. You know, Dr. Manmohan Singh, for those of you who don't know or not have not lived through that period, have not been in India at that time, or not seen the transformation of India, I think was the architect of India's transformation from what it was to what it is. You know, we might not agree with it. Many people today don't agree. In fact, they have sidelined them altogether. But when someone from outside says so, you have to listen to it. And today I came across what Mr. Anwar Ibrahim has put out. And he put out his thoughts about Dr. Manmohan Singh. And I would like to read it out. Uh, he says, the weight of grief bears down on me at the news of the passing of my honored and cherished friend, Dr. Manmohan Singh. Obituaries, essays, and books aplenty there will surely be about this great man, celebrating him as the architect of India's economic reforms. As Prime Minister, Dr. Manmohan Singh was the midwife of India's emergence as one of the world's economic giants. I had the rare privilege of witnessing the early years of these transformative policies firsthand while we both served as finance ministers during the 1990s. We shared a fervent commitment to the war against corruption, even collaborating on unraveling a major case. The praise that will follow in the days ahead will be truly well deserved. Dr. Manmohan Singh, slightly awkward as a politician, but undeniably upright, steadfast, and resolute as a statesman, leaves behind a legacy that will inspire generations to come. To me, he will be all that and much more. Not many people know this, and it is time that I share it with Malaysians. During the years of my incarceration, he extended a kindness that he didn't have to, one that was neither politically expedient nor, as one can imagine, appreciated by the Malaysian government at that time. Yet, true to his character, he did it anyway. He offered scholarships for my children, particularly my son. Although I had declined the gracious offer, such a gesture undoubtedly showed his extraordinary humanity and generosity, demonstrative as the bard would have it of a man so full of milk of human kindness. In those dark days, as I navigated the labyrinth of imprisonment, he stood by me as a true friend. Such acts of quiet magnanimity defined him, and they will remain etched in my heart forever. Goodbye, my Mitra, my bhai, Manmohan. I think that is fantastic. If you get obituaries like this, obviously you've been someone great. And today we are witnessing the passing of a great man. Like I said, uh, you had to be in India in the late 80s, early 90s, and mid 90s till 2000 to see the transformation which happened. I still remember the first mall which opened in Gurgaon, and we went there and we wondered, what is this? We were not used to such shopping experiences. But today you find malls in every street corner. And why did that mall come up? It came up in Gurgaon. Why did it come up? Because that area was full of uh, these IT companies which were
MNCs.
coming up.
Yeah,
Yeah,
MNCs. Yeah.
not even MNCs, IT companies, outsourcing, right? And a lot of foreigners had come. They were setting up their shop there, and all these companies used to work at night. And with that, other, you know, paraphernalia came up. They needed these malls and all that. And slowly, other malls opened up, and today you have something different. So I think you need to recognize that moment. And then, of course, the second great moment which I've always felt was the way he navigated and insisted upon the nuclear deal. He brought us out of, literally out of jail, from being a nuclear pariah to someone who was accepted internationally uh, in the nuclear club. Of course, China has not liked it from then. It still behaves that way. But he got us out of jail. Just these two acts changed India. And for the nuclear deal, it, it went beyond that because it set the edifice of relations between India and USA on a different level. He could leave behind the problems which we faced with uh, USA from the 70s till about the early 90s and start a new chapter. And if this strategic partnership is wherever it is, a large part of it, the credit goes to Dr. Manmohan Singh. I thought I must say this today. Uh, Mr. Sree Iyer, over to you. Whenever you want, we'll start the real program.
Thank you, General Ravi Shankar. Viewers, many of us expected the June 2024 elections to be a very easy win for Bharatiya Janata Party, and therefore, that the course that the country had set itself upon the last 10 years will accelerate and do better things, higher things. Unfortunately, that did not happen. So there was a bit of a crimp that might have been put in Modi's style of functioning. And with that in mind, let us take a look at the good, bad, and the ugly. I want to put the context right here because if you don't have the political strength, you don't have the political capital, then it is difficult to do some things that are good in the long term but might not look so good in the short term. Over to you, sir.
Thanks a lot. Look, 2024 for India has been good. Right? You spoke about the politics and the elections and all that. Personally, I don't think Mr. Modi has been correct. I think there's balance. Um, my own view was earlier we lacked a good opposition. We have a good opposition, but that's a different story. I'll come to that a little later. We have at least a weighty opposition, and you have a stable government. That's good enough. But having said that, leave that out. I thought 2024 was one of the best years uh, in many years I've witnessed, and I'll explain it to you. So I will talk of this good, bad, and the ugly in four verticals. First, we'll talk of the geopolitical vertical, then the geoeconomic vertical, and I'll talk of the technology vertical and the internal vertical. Because if you don't put all these together, we will not understand what has happened in India. But above all this is the fact that you push China back. When this deal took place, and yesterday I put this video out, I would request everyone to see it. Not yesterday, day before yesterday. And in the Gunner shot, I put the link for that video where I've said after 4 years on the LAC, China has faced defeat. You might find it funny, but the fact is it has happened. Why? If you examine China's behavior in Korea, uh, India 1962, um, Vietnam, Hong Kong, and now in the South China Sea, China has never taken a step back. It has never admitted anything. When it started a thing, it finished that thing. That's been their track record. They started with that. Teaching the other country a lesson has been their, national mantra. They came here to teach us a lesson. They changed. Because they couldn't teach us a lesson. Then they put pressure on the LAC for 4 years. Didn't work. They've gone back. They've been taught a lesson. Never in the history of China, modern China, and never in the history of communist China has it been taught a lesson the way it has been taught now. And now it is very clear that India is beyond China. India is too strong for China. I said this in 2020. I don't know if you remember that, Mr. Sree Iyer. I said this, they'll not come back, they can't do anything more. And it stood. That I thought was the biggest achievement in 2024. I'll not dwell on it more. Have a look at my video and you'll see the complete logic. I spent 1 hour on it. But then, besides this, what else? India came out to its own very recently in conjunction with USA in keeping the Red Sea channels open, the Gulf of Eden and the Bab el Mandab open. On the other side, US and its allies were carrying out anti-Houthi operations. This side, to the east, along the Somalian coast, we were doing anti-piracy operations. Understand? We were the only two nations who were carrying this out. This so-called great superpower called China didn't step out. It was sitting in Djibouti, closed. Just the same way it was sitting inside Shanghai when the tsunami struck in 2004. In 2004 tsunami also, it was only the Indian Navy and the US Navy which were out bringing succor to people. Something very great. And as an extension of this, the India-US relationship has actually touched new heights. I know there are bad actions, certain things which USA has done, which Biden administration has done, which goes against the strategic partnership. But if you look at the fundamentals of this partnership, it has grown strength to strength. Whether it is military deployments, military to military contacts, a lot of things, we've broken new ground. That won't run away. And I think this will gain strength in the next year. Just as the fact that it will sink into people that China had to go back, had to be pushed back. And we must also understand, all of us are used to the fact a defeat means a military defeat. It need not be so. In the Chinese parlance, a strategic defeat or a political defeat is worse, and that's what they've had. Okay, besides this, what are the other things which have happened which are good for India? We've been able to turn around Sri Lanka and Maldives. A year back, Sri Lanka was in the dumps. We didn't know which side it was going. We stood by Sri Lanka and it came out. Maldives, everyone said earlier in the year, we did lot. How do you get Maldives back? India out campaign, China first, all that nonsense. But that's also changed completely. I think geopolitically, these are great achievements that within the year, you face the adverse situation and you've been able to turn it around. Right. And then you look at how we have handled the West Asian crisis, whether it's Iran or Saudis or UAE, everyone had trust in India. Even in the Ukraine war, whether it's Ukraine or Russia, both repose trust in India. To the extent that Farid Zakaria of CNN and right, he said, if anyone has the credentials to be a good mediator in all these conflicts, it is India. And India played its part. People would not speak to anyone else but would speak to India. And that is no mean achievement, right? Okay. Russia, our friendship with Russia has strengthened. And that has given a lot of leverage to us. It has given leverage to, against China for us. And it has also given us leverage against USA. USA today, otherwise a country like USA would just have steamrolled us, like it does with Pakistan or other countries. That hasn't happened because we had Russia by our side and we stood by Russia in its you know tough days. Then look at East Asia. Today, everyone in East Asia, whether it's Philippines, Indonesia, you just heard what the Malaysian Prime Minister said about one of our Prime Ministers. Vietnam, Japan, South Korea, they all look to India as a hedge. And then look at the international cooperation which is, uh, you know, come about. Almost every country of note has done a military exercise with us. And plus the fact that in all disaster situations, we have extricated people from them, whether latest is Israel. In that track record, we have kept it up. Okay, what are the bad ones? The bad eggs. First has to be Pakistan. And that's a rotten egg, which is left rotten to rot. So I'll not, we all know it, we'll not talk of it. If you want to know more about Pakistan, join me on Gana Shot tomorrow. The second bad egg is with Nepal. Well, Nepal has turned towards China, but that's Nepal's nature. There are three persons who keep, ringa ringa roses or merry-go-round. They keep changing every year. So whenever this fellow comes, Oli, KP Sharma Oli, he'll swing to China. Or whenever Prachand comes and Dyuba comes, they'll swing to India. So it's a matter of the pendulum going here and there. I'm not too bothered. We are okay. But what I'm bothered about are the ugly ones. The ugly ones need no guessing. One is Canada, and the second, of course, is Bangladesh. Now, these are the ones which are real ugly geopolitically. And I think we need to really do something to, you know, handle them. Bangladesh will be a naughty problem going ahead. Not because of its military capability or incapability or all that, but I think radicalism there has taken root much deeper than we thought. And the present regime is, because US has gone hands off. I won't say it's gone rogue, but I think it's gone. It's like a misguided missile. It itself doesn't know where it is going. So we need to take special steps as to how to sort that out. And I think throughout 2025 and maybe up to another couple of years, uh, we'll have to handle Bangladesh, like catching a fish. You know, to hook it and keep playing it and tire it out and not make the mistake of doing anything rash. That'll be the worst thing we'll do for ourselves, right? Bangladesh is going to be a bad egg which we'll have to deal. A lot of bad smell will come out of it. Yeah. This is as much as the geopolitical issue is concerned. Uh, Now, let's get to the geoeconomics. When you look at the geoeconomics, there's nothing ugly which has happened in past 2024. Here again, our rise has been largely unimpeded. We remain the fastest growing economy. Everyone finds India as the trustworthy, because trust is something which we have earned over the years and just got reinforced this year. And that trust has stood us in good stead in terms of investment and everything. And our economy is marching ahead without a stop. I do understand a certain amount of our consumption has gone down in this last quarter. And if I put my finger on anything which is a little bad about the geoeconomics of our nation, it is the manufacturing. We need to rev up manufacturing, whether it is civil manufacturing or defense manufacturing. That is something which, despite our Atmanirbhar Abhiyan and all that, we have not been able to put things together. It'll be wrong on my part to say it's just the government of India which is at fault. Yes, it is. It has to re-look at the whole thing. But more importantly, I think our industry has not had the guts and the risk-taking ability to come forth and break new horizons. You hear a few odd things, uh, but we have not had shown the vision. I mean, just think, if you're going to be the third largest economy and you want to go up the value chain, you need a lot of transportation capability. You need a lot of shipping. You need everything. Yet we don't own one shipping line which is decent. We don't own one. You don't even make your own transporting. Those what those
Containers?
containers. Yeah, we
Yeah.
don't. And you're going to be dependent on Chinese and others. Why don't you do it on your own? You say Sagar Mala, Ye Mala, Wo Mala. Has that come of age? Have you put something? No, government can't do everything. It's the industry which has to come forth. And the people are there to help everyone. So do we have these models? You don't have the models? Have you done any joint ventures to overcome them? I think this is something which we have to think. I've just given one, uh, shipping is just one. Our focus can't always be on semiconductors. Our focus can't be on AI alone. If the whole world is going to regret AI, it's not going to pay off. And that's coming out very loud and clear at the end of the year. If there's one big trend, I can say AI has not paid itself through. And it's not likely to pay the way people thought it will happen. It's going to be a slow affair, right? So that is something which we have to rethink in terms of our geoeconomics. Okay. The third thing is about technology. What have we done very good in technology? Yeah, we are now undoubtedly a space power. We are opening up our space sector to, private people, startups, everything. Fantastic. Our missile capabilities have gone up exponentially. Just to give you two, we fired the hypersonic missile. We also fired multiple re system, Agni 5. Plus, we launched the air launched BrahMos system. Nuclear sub has been activated, and so many I can keep going on. Okay, and that technology is strategic technology is, I think, fabulous. Space technology, I've always said, and our nuclear technology, which is homegrown, coming of age. Infrastructure wise, I think we made remarkable progress in along the Himalayas. We opened the Sela tunnel, which gives tremendous connectivity. In fact, almost 365 days connectivity to Tawang, which was not there earlier. And China had a lot of problem with it. And then we already had the Atal tunnel, and now we're going to have the third tunnel across Zojila very shortly. And once that comes, and a few other like the Shinkurla Pass, which connects the Kulu Manali Road to the Zojila axis, your ability to service uh, Eastern Ladakh and Western Ladakh will be fantastic. It will be seamless. I think these three itself have changed the infrastructure outlook. Plus your vibrant village programs. I mean, it's not funny. It might sound small, but this you're just mirroring what the Chinese are doing there. The Sikyong villages and vibrant villages are not different. We might be doing it at a little lesser pace. I'm not bothered, but we've started. Roads coming up. I think infrastructure-wise, we've done well on our borders. In the hinterland, I think something remarkable has happened in all cities I've gone in this year, which has gone largely unnoticed and unspoken. You go to any metro today or any big city you have a metro. You go to Bangalore, there's a metro. Bombay, there's a metro. Chennai, there's a metro. Delhi, there's a metro. Kanpur, there's a metro. Lucknow, there's a metro. Right? The number of metros which are opening up in our cities is a great upgrade on our infrastructure. Again, you wouldn't believe it, but it's there. And the expansion of our airports, huge. The that uh, change is palpable. If today I want to go from Chennai to Dehradun, I can hop through Lucknow and go. Some time back, after all, I studied in Dehradun, I couldn't dream of it. Right? Going to Dehradun, one had to think of going to Delhi, go to Old Delhi railway station, catch a train in the cold, reach Dehradun early in the morning. That was it. Today, no. You're here. Within 4 hours, you're in Dehradun. With a 40-minute halt in Lucknow. So that transformation which is happening internally in terms of infrastructure will only keep spurring our economy. I mean, that is something very good. They're not defense exports. Look, our defense exports are growing geometrically. There are now countries which are coming to us and saying, please give us. The problem here is that we have not upped our manufacturing capacity to meet that. And we have not opened our policy. I'm sure they will this year because it's not the big ticket items. It's not selling a BrahMos or a ATAGs or a Pinaka to one A, B, C country which matters. What matters is milking the whole system. What is milking the whole system? Our entire neighborhood has Russian equipment. We have been masters at handling Russian equipment for ages. We have the wherewithal to make almost the complete spare for Russian equipment and much more. And spares are important. It's not every day you need to buy a new tank, but every day you have to maintain a tank and to keep it up. or aircraft or anything. So I think this is where we have to now focus. Do we have that focus? They might be thinking of it. I'm sure it will come, but the sooner the better. Okay. Uh, then, of course, where are we lacking? What's not good about this technology business? We have not focused on putting technology as a forefront or making your own technology as a critical requirement. Look, we might be doing many things, but unless you say, I'm going to own this technology and I'll make this technology, because once you have that technology, you can trade technology, you can sell technology, you can, uh, do many things. And I'm in this game day in and day out. Let me tell you, the differential between owning a technology and buying a technology is somewhere in the order of 1 is to 10,000. So if you own your own technology, you pay 1 for it. If you want to buy that technology, you pay 10,000 for it. You'll be surprised. And we are not leveraging this. And you don't need to own all technologies. You need to own a few niche technologies which you can deploy for civil use and for defense purposes. The moment you do that, the game changes. Right? Take it from me because this is my experience and that's how it is. Okay, let me get to the internal uh, issues of India. What's the best thing which has happened this year? Kashmir. Despite the problems we've had in Kashmir, despite the ambushes, killings, and all that, we've held elections. We've held the parliamentary elections, we've held the assembly elections. There's an elected government in Kashmir. And from what it appears, the elected government is doing well. Has peace returned to Kashmir? Yes and no. Is Kashmir in normal state? Yes and no. So I put it in both shades. Earlier, I could not have said yes. The best part of 24 is you started saying yes to this. And after all, we held one of the G20 meets also out there. Things are changing. Today, people in Pakistan occupied Kashmir are saying, look, if those chaps can enjoy the liberties and progress in India, why can't we be there instead of this side where Pakistan milks us out? I think that's a great achievement internally. Okay. Now, what's the bad apple in or kitty internally? Manipur. A lot of people have spoken many things about Manipur. I've also spoken about it. I've done a whole lot of videos about it. Have a look at it. I'm not convinced about this business of Hindu metis and Christian cookies. I'm not convinced at all. Because having lived there amongst them, they've never had this problem. For some reason, our politicians have manufactured it. And I say it with full conviction. You take religion out of this whole game and approach it properly, I think the problem will get resolved. And I don't think, I'm very confident it will get resolved. It's a naughty problem. There's no doubt about it. It's not going to be easy. Uh, it took us about a decade to get Manipur to what it was the last year, balanced. It has taken 1 year to take us back to those 10 years. Purely bad politics. Largely at the state level and equally largely at the center level. More than that, I wouldn't like to comment or talk. Maybe in a different uh, context, I'll talk of why I think I can justify it. And I think the problem has now morphed into something which we never thought. Uh, My fear is that this could be a Frankenstein which will come to bite us. Uh, in fact, I wouldn't mind saying this is if there's a failure of the government of India in anywhere, it is Manipur. Okay. Now, the root cause of this, which is the ugly part of internal issue, is the internal politics. I've never seen internal politics so fractured in this country. Never. As a result, you call it polarized, fractured, whatever you want. As a result, as a people, we are getting fractured. That's not good. You need to have the ability to listen to the other fellow. You need to have the logic of convincing him that you are better than him. You need to have the capability of turning people's minds around. Constantly saying, look, you are, if it's my way or the highway, won't take India far. And this is something which is critical. That's why I said the election was not a, results were not a bad result. It was a balanced result. The people of India have given all political parties enough rope to do their trick. And I think the people of India have given enough rope to all political parties to hang themselves also. How our political parties, navigate 25 and beyond and deal with each other will define how India progresses. I think there's a requirement of some good sensitivity and common sense which needs to prevail between the ruling party and the opposition. The first glimmer of hope I see is that I think recently the Prime Minister and the leader of opposition had a sitting, right? I would, they might have different viewpoints. That's a different story. Um, but they need to communicate more. There can be debates, critical of each other, but you don't go beyond a level. When gutter politics enter our parliament, then we are in a problem. And we want to be one of the members of UN as a permanent member of UN Security Council. That's our aim, isn't it? And let me also tell you, no one can stop us going there. UN is irrelevant today. Whether you become a security member or not is probably irrelevant as far as I'm concerned. But the fact is, sooner or later, someone is going to tell you, please come and sit here and talk to us and put some sense into us. If we have to put sense into the world, I think we need to talk sense within ourselves. This business of my way or the highway has to go. Both sides. I am not going to say who's at fault here. I think all our politicians are at fault. That's why I said I've never seen Indian politics come down to this level. Look, even in the days of emergency, I won't say emergency, 90s, where every day we were changing a government. Every year we had 4, 5 prime ministers. We had no stability. A ragtag set of parties would get together to form a government and fall within a few months. We never had acrimony of this kind. Right? I've dealt with many of these people. We never had acrimony of this kind. This is a new law, and I do hope we get out of it in 2025. With this, Shreyarji, I have painted out a picture. Your questions, and then we could probably take on your views, whatever it is, and then we could take on questions from the audience.
Thank you so much, General Ravishankar. I think you covered everything, almost everything. I mean, I can't think of anything more. Nepal, we have already talked about it in one episode here, so you can take a look at it because it was just a couple of weeks ago or 4 weeks ago. So it's fairly recent as to what happened in Nepal. And Bangladesh, again, we talked about that as a separate episode. things that could be done better. Certainly, India has done some quiet diplomacy where they have, taken Sri Lanka along, and Maldives was a huge surprise. 28 islands are being supplied water by India. That's a, it's like a permanent installation there, and that's like a, you can say it's a listening post. General Ravi Shankar may not agree with me. It's a listening post as far as I'm
Yeah, yeah,
concerned.
it is. Yeah, I agree with you. There's no doubt about it. Yeah, there's no doubt on this.
So,
I told you, Maldives is a great turnaround. Maldives has been a tremendous
yeah.
turnaround. From being India out to now, that man comes and says, please give me everything. Because China is not giving them everything. And we have to understand our own strength. China, everyone thought China will come and do anything, China will do nothing. Because China can't do anything for itself. That's why I say it's a defeated nation. You'll see
And
it.
that eulogy
I
that
mean, this point, what I'm saying, I'm making a very bold statement. It's a defeated nation, and you'll see it happening as days go by. Because what I said 4 years back has happened so far, it will happen ahead also.
Yes, indeed. And that eulogy that you read of Dr. Manmohan Singh by Anwar Ibrahim was just out of the charts. Pierce, but that alone you should watch this episode because these are all gems. What you look at a totally different perspective of a person as a human being, what he has accomplished. And they were migrants from Pakistan. They just came with their clothes on, Manmohan Singh and his family. Imagine, I mean, if they had come, instead of coming into Punjab, if they had come into Jammu area or Srinagar area, they wouldn't still be getting citizenship. So a
Yeah,
lot has happened there, and our condolences to the family of Dr. Manmohan Singh. So let's take a few questions now.
yeah, please.
First question from, yeah, go ahead. Sanjay PR wants to know, respected General Ravi Shankar, it's high time the refugee Tibetans must go back from Kurk, Bailukoppa, and Mundgod, Hubli, fight against CCP. They are burdening on Ma Bharti. Is it true that there are some Tibetans here in this
Yeah,
area?
there's an encampment there. The Tibetans have been located at 3, 4 different places. One of them is in Mysore. He's right. But the fact is, Sanjay, they can go back. We can send them back. There's no problem. But we should send them back, enabling them to fight. If you don't do that, there's no point. Right? And for us to host a few thousand is not a big deal for India. It's not at all. I mean, they're not a thing. I've interacted with them and they're prepared to go back. They're prepared to do anything. But the political will and statement from us to say, okay, go and do what you have to do to gain your independence is not there. But having said that, my view, and I've said this in a podcast, my last podcast on Tibet, Sanjay, just go to Ganashot and type out Tibet. The latest podcast on Tibet, have a look. Tibet will get its independence, right? Uh, I would put it, the whole story will start somewhere in the next 4, 5 years. Why? Whenever the central authority in China has been strong, Tibet has been under the Chinese rule. Whenever the central authority in China has weakened, Tibet has put its flag of independence. And that's our opportunity. From here on, you'll see the central authority in China, it's weakening. It will happen because many things are going down. And I'm going to do a program on China very shortly, where it is either in the end of the year or beginning of the year to assess where China is. And you come back and join me, and I'll do it, or probably I'll do it with
Yeah.
Iyer, right? And I feel that going here on in the next till the next decade, you'll see China slowly going down, and that's when Tibetans will get an opportunity, and that's when we need to grab that opportunity. If you let that opportunity go, it's gone. So we have to wait it out. You need to have strategic patience on this issue.
Next one, please. Magnet Ranga wants to know, it is sad that there hasn't been any action against the corrupt of past governments, a plank that Modiji used in elections. This being in national interest, will there be action at least now?
No, there'll be no action. Let me be very clear about it. Look, no politician, or most of this thing about corruption and all is all politics. You look at Xi Jinping; he's washed away so many people in corruption. It was on political vendetta. Okay, and every political party is corrupt. Let's be very clear. There's no political party which is not corrupt. Okay, it's only that the mode method of corruption varies. The corruption, the way you and I think for a normal middle class is different in India versus America, or for that matter in USA or China. So if you think that all a political party in India is not corrupt, no way. And corruption is largely a political agenda to for getting votes. After that, very little can be done. That's history anyway.
Next one, please. Thank you, Murali Krishna, for becoming YouTube
Thank
member.
you. Thanks a lot.
Thank you. I can't read your name. I'm so sorry.
Yeah.
Pranam General, there are critical shortages in IIF and no induction of new fighters. Is missile and space capability only option left? Iranian model?
No. I don't think of it that way. There are no critical shortages in IAF. We have adequate, first and foremost. You have adequate to defend the nation, even to undertake, certain offensive actions. I've always maintained that the Indian armed forces are good to defend the nation. What they're not good as of today is the ability to dominate or area of interest, that is your Indian Ocean region completely, as a rising power. If you have to be an acknowledged power, you have to have the capability to enforce your power in your area of interest. There we lack. Okay, it is for that our shortages in IAF have to be made up. So the Iranian model is far away. And if you look into the PIB, put out today morning, in fact, maybe yesterday, about the review of what all has happened in the defense in 2004, you'll find that IAF has got a lot, including getting Sukhois and engines and all that. We might not be having new ones. In any case, um, don't also get carried away by what's happening in China. They've put out some photographs of some 6th gen fighter and all that. Don't do that. Okay, don't make the mistake. You're talking of a defeated nation or a nation in decline, which will at, resort to all these antics. Yeah.
Next one, please. Sudesh Casey wants to know, sir, your opinion on leverage to USA is the cause of their mischievous activities in Bangladesh?
No, it's not no leverage. We're not given them any leverage at all. In fact, this is something which has come out of the blue. And this is, you see, we all know that within US, there is a lobby which, or a caucus, or a nucleus, call it what you want. People call it Soros, all that, who wants to enforce their version of democracy all over. And that is the way they, exert their influence also. So it is one of those things. And US is like that. That's the nature of USA. If it has to destabilize India, it will do that. Right? And so it destabilized Bangladesh. And destabilizing Bangladesh has very clear ideas. The whole thing is coming unstuck for many other issues. Maybe we'll discuss it one of these days again. Because the whole idea is, if USA has a footprint in a stable Bangladesh, I'm talking of footprint and a stable Bangladesh, stability, then it can control both India and China, which is a fantastic thought, geostrategically, geopolitically, whatever you want. Unfortunately, USA has not been able to pull it off. So today, there's no stability in Bangladesh, and neither is a US footprint there. Will not be there. So how do you pull Bangladesh back from this instability is the question mark in front of us. That's why I said that's the ugly bit, geopolitical landscape. Why not good, bad, and the ugly? Oh, ugly hai ye.
Vishwanathan R wants to know, is our economic tax labor laws not an impediment for kickstarting rapid growth in the manufacturing sector? None of the governments, both in the state and central level, seem to be addressing this area.
I agree with you completely. You see, the prime example of this is that copper sterlite factory in Tuticorin. If you look over the whole thing, because you didn't have good laws, you didn't have good taxation methods, you don't have good mechanisms to resolve labor disputes. From being a copper surplus nation, you are exporting copper from sterlite. So some fellow said there is cancer, some fellow said something, some local problem started. That local problem assumed religious angles, then it assumed political thing. One party was vis-a-vis the other, right? It became the ruling party was the opposition at state level. Then it became state politics versus central politics. And at the end, what happened? You closed that factory. You deprived a whole lot of people of their livelihood. Who benefited? China. China engineered that whole thing, is now very clear. So, and now people say, how do you reopen that factory? This is the problem in India. In fact, this is the ugly problem of India, which we need to resolve. Yeah.
Manoj Soma wants to know, or wants to say, sir, Chinese army taken steps back on some of the borders. This has happened in 2024. True, 2024 is a good year. Thank you for your insight, sir. Thank you so much, Manojji. And with that, we come to a close of today's program. Please share, like, and subscribe to our channels, both Gunnershot as well as Pigurus. On both these channels, we are going live, and we'll be seeing the Good General in person very soon. Thank you once again, sir. Namaskar.
Thank you. Thanks a lot.